Is Michael Penix the starter as soon as he is healthy? And if not, is there a plan for competition to bring him in?
Well, neither of us are the head coach of the football team, so we can't answer your question on that. All of us are going to get together, and we're excited about Mike and what he's doing with his rehab. I've been up at the facility. Michael's been in there attacking that, and he's in a good space right now. So we're excited about where he's at, but certainly a lot of discussions for us about the entire roster.
I like that's up to the head coach to decide.
If you're Michael Penix, that can't make you feel good.
No, what are you going to do?
No, I understand what are you going to do, but I'm just saying, like,
and it's not about his game, because the brother can play. But I don't know this. You two especially know this better than me. I'm going to tell you what I was told. That you see him lined up in the shotgun most of the time because it's difficult for him to line up under center because he has to bend his knees too much.
There are a lot of theories that is because that is what Michael Penix can do. It is on him now to say, no. Get me under center.
How many games?
14.
14. So technically, he's still a rookie. He hasn't seen enough. And guess what they say in the NFL? Availability is the best ability. Like, I think he can, but I need to see more.
Are you at your most comfortable when you're in shotgun or in pistol?
Man, I'm comfortable doing either or. That I just do what I'm told. I do whatever it's called, and and I got to execute whatever it's called at the best of my abilities. But it's no. The whole shotgun under center thing, it's not my call. Run the plays that I'm told to run, and I'm comfortable and confident to do either.
What's going on, family? It's your boy C-Mo, the C Mitchell, a.k.a. T-Moo Cam Newton, and I had to hop away from the weeping and the moaning and the gnashing of Saints and Bucks to hop into the bird bath. And it's that time of year right now. The false, weird stories and narratives you wouldn't normally think are a whole thing. Not only the Michael Penix issues, but also of the Kyle Pitts can't block narrative. I've seen a lot of weird things. They've even said, hey, let's get rid of Jesse Bates. Let's trade him for some more draft capital, which I also think is just a bad idea. And first and foremost, we'll kind of talk a little bit about Michael Penix Jr. It is just not a fair assessment to say that he can't play out of anything but shotgun and pistol. Go back and we look at what his strengths were when he was in college at Washington. He was a play-action quarterback that could drive the ball downfield, right? He was able to play out of single-back formations. And the offense that we have now, which is very similar to the one that we had last year, and again, Michael Penix and Bijan Robinson both have said that they think this will be a good offense for them to be able to thrive and flourish in, that he is set up and made especially to play to his strengths in the NFL by being able to push the ball downfield and being able to play with play action and to be able to play underneath the center. Now, as Matt Ryan said, Michael Penix is deep into his rehab right now, and they like where he's coming along with that. And Michael Penix has also said that he believes he's a little bit ahead of schedule. I believe that we're going to see him take a leap this year, and we're going to see him debunk some of those things. He also talked about how he's been through adversity and all those type of things before, and I love how he didn't throw any of the coaches' staff under the bus, saying that, hey, that's all that they called, and I could have done this or I could have done that instead. He just wants to let his game talk for him. And one place that I think could be a huge thing for him would be if we could get him another trade, if we could get him a trade candidate out here. Now, one of my other favorite content creators I like to watch around football is Saturday Morning Inspection. Now, they talked about a trade calculator that they got from PFF on a good trade that could help out Michael Penix this year with the number 2 receiver. And I didn't go into this in my previous video, which I have linked over here in the live chat feed. You guys can check that out whenever you get done with this video. But one person that I think that we should go after, and we talked about Jaylen Nailor with the Vikings as a bargain free agent candidate. Somebody that I think could be really good for us is Jordan Addison. Now, I didn't mention him before because he did recently have some issues. He's had a few off-the-field issues that have kind of plagued him a little bit, and I feel like if you're already having off-the-field issues, Atlanta may not be the best place for you. But nonetheless, he's a guy who stretches the field. He can get deep for us, and it would behoove them to make that type of trade if they can get him. Now, of course, they would have to worry about re-signing him. But let's get into the footage real quick.
So I like using PFF's mock draft simulator to sort of mock trades out to see what compensation would be. So they've got a great tool over at Pro Football Focus, PFF. A lot of people are mock drafts and mock trades and things like that. And they just use analytical models. They use past information just to come up with deals that teams would actually accept. You can't just force a trade or anything like that. So I think this is something that's very realistic. So what happened here is the Vikings would get the Atlanta Falcons' second-round pick in 2027. The Falcons, obviously, not having a first-round pick this year, probably wouldn't want to trade this year's second-round pick to not have a pick for Jordan Addison. So this would be future. So we would talk in 2027 draft. This would be Jordan Addison, and a fourth-round pick would be what the Falcons receive, and the Minnesota Vikings would receive a second-round pick. Based on PFF simulator here, based on their analytical model, both teams would accept that deal. The Vikings would take that. So I think from a Falcons perspective, that would be a win. You lose a second-round pick, you get Jordan Addison, that feels fair, and then you have a fourth-round pick. You can just add more to it. You can add more depth, a wide receiver, do whatever you want with that fourth-round pick. Sometimes I think teams, they don't try the strategy. I kind of am a fan of this, where you use a pick for player swap, but ask the other team that's giving up the player to throw in a late-round pick as a sweetener, just so that way you make sure you have a full roster.
Now, of course, if we did make a trade for Jordan Addison, we'd have to definitely look at going and re-signing him. We'd have to think about re-signing him in the next year or two. He was drafted in the same draft with one Bijan Robinson. Now, I'm not against that. I think that we could actually get him in here if he is able to live up to the hype, if he's able to excel here in Atlanta. I believe that he would be worth re-signing, and it probably wouldn't cost him a whole lot. But giving up a second-round pick in 2027 in order to get a fourth-round pick in return, along with Jordan Addison, I think that's a steal of a deal because, again, Jordan Addison was drafted late in the first round. I think around pick number 23, maybe 26 or so. And while Jordan Addison is a guy who can take the top off of the defense, he has not commanded a large amount of large amount of targets while he's been in Minnesota. He has been the number 2 to Justin Jefferson, as a lot of you guys may know out there. And Justin Jefferson has been the de facto number 1 and arguably the best receiver in the league, depending on who you ask. It's fluctuated from year to year. Of course, we've got Jamar Chase, who he played with at LSU. And, of course, we got Jackson Smith and Jigba. We have people like Puka Nacua. But he's been one of the top receivers in the league that can do all that you need to do. So I don't think that his ego would be so big that he would have a problem not being featured as the main target in this offense. But he would be a large upgrade from us having Darnell Mooney out there. And again, in the previous video, I talked about some of the bargain free agents that I would like. There are some guys out there like Jaylen Nailor whose hands aren't nearly as good as Jordan Addison, but a lot of people have also said that they want to see Cheetah come back home to Atlanta. Cheetah being, for those of you out there who aren't privy to the nicknames, Tyreek Hill. Now, I spoke with Steve Hightower, before about bringing in Tyreek Hill here to Atlanta. He said, no more gimmick guys. I said, what do you mean by that? He said, yeah, he's still fast. Even though he's had this injury, we're not sure what we're going to get out of him. He still will have speed, but he's a guy that's not a route runner. We need a guy who can execute and be a route runner. So for that reason, I would love somebody like Jordan Addison if we could trade for him. And again, if we don't have to give up a pick this year, and it would be a next year pick, I'd be all for that. Now, there are a few other guys that I said in the other video, like Tyquan Thornton. That's a guy who I think I'd love to get on a prove-it deal. There's a few other guys who have better hands than some of these other people out here that are available as well, like a Jaylen Nailor, for example. But great pick, a great trade that I wouldn't necessarily be against going with. But we'll see. But if we're going to keep Michael Penix here, we're going to need to make sure, if we're going to move forward and we want to see him be able to excel to his highest level, we're going to need to get him some more help. And amongst that, leading to my next point, is Kyle Pitts. I think that if you really want to develop Michael Penix to the next level, Kyle Pitts is where you want to be at. You want to keep him here. Now, there are some other tight ends out here in the league that are going to be free agents coming up this year. I'd rather overpay Kyle Pitts than overpay somebody else. And there are a few tight ends coming out in the drafts over the next couple of years. You might be able to get the same production that you get out of Kyle Pitts. I, for one, don't personally think that it's worth it to not sign Kyle Pitts and you let him leave the building. And one of the reasons that a lot of people have said get rid of Kyle Pitts and let him walk is because he's not a good blocker. But I want to get into a little film about why he is a good blocker, or at least he's much improved. People have said he's a terrible blocker. Now, I'm not saying that he's a punishing or one of the best blocking tight ends in the league, but for a, receiving tight end, I think he does a pretty good job, and he doesn't cause a liability for you out there. I'm going to show you some plays that I've cut up on tape that either he's made the play to spring the block for his guy to be able to make a big run, or he was on the backside, or that his guy didn't necessarily make the tackle. But I think that Kyle Pitts is a lot better, much improved of a blocker for this team, and he allows you to make a lot more plays out there than you would have previously been able to make. And you can also go with different types of personnel. But without further ado, let's get into some of those plays real quick that I've cut up for you guys. Now, if you look at this play, you got Kyle Pitts right over here. Seals off the backside and is able to spring the running back right there just for a short, modest gain right there. We'll get into the next play. Got Kyle Pitts over here on this side. Kicks out on the defensive end right there. And we'll run that back one more time for you. You got a guy in motion, comes over, kicks out on your outside linebacker right there. And you guys out there, let me know if you want me to link the actual video of the cut-ups of that. I have it as an unlisted video right now because YouTube will, I don't want them to demonetize anything. That video can't be monetized. And I'll get a copyright infringement on it. It shouldn't affect the channel too much, but if you guys want me to link that for you, I will give you a link in the description for you to be able to check out that video. And I want to pull up a few other videos as well too a few more of the plays where he's making some plays. And I didn't even have to get all the way past the first 2 games of the season. I had about 20 plays where they kept him on the field in 12 personnel, which is 1 back, 2 tight ends, where they were able to use Kyle Pitts in the slot as well too. And again, his guy isn't making the play on some of these plays. I'll bring you to another play. Kyle Pitts right here. Kicks out. Now, in that particular play, wasn't a gain, or wasn't a big gain, but his guy was not the person that made the play on that play. And a lot of the times for your tight ends, they're not on heavy blocking assignments. He's not our lead blocking tight end. You will notice that we use Charlie Warner for a lot of motion plays as the kick-out blocker. A lot of the times with Kyle Pitts, you just want him to get in the way of the guy, and you want him to not get manhandled by the defensive end. So for that reason, all the plays you've seen so far, not a horrible blocker, right? He's not necessarily springing these guys for long runs so far in some of the plays that you see, but he's been effective, and he's been not a liability out there. And the fact that you can also use him as a pass-catching receiving tight end, you don't know what he's going to do. So it makes him that much more effective as a blocker if you could keep him on the field in some of these running downs as well too. And I'm going to show you a few more plays as well too. And that's a modest gain right there. We'll run that back real quick for you guys. Kyle Pitts right here. Again, if you look at this, his guy is not the one, his guy is not going to make the play right here, and that's huge. as I said, a lot of the times you're just looking for him to get in the way of whoever is the blocker. I mean, whoever is the defensive end at the end of those plays. Now, we're going to get into the next game of the season because that was week 1 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The second game of the season was against the Minnesota Vikings, as you just saw recently right there. And off rip, out the gate, the first 3 or 4 plays are big runs. And they ran to Kyle Pitts' side a few times as well, too. We're going to get right into that. But again, I'm showing you plays where Kyle Pitts is still an effective blocker, and he allows you to do a lot more. And this only excelled as the season went on. There's even some plays, even have 1 or 2 plays where he's coming in as a pass blocker, where, again, we didn't necessarily do anything effective on that play, but he was not a liability on the play. His guy did not make the play, did not make the tackle on the play specifically. And that's all you really want now to Kyle Pitts. You're not paying him all this money for him to be a run-blocking tight end. But again, you just want him to not be a liability for you out there. But in doing some of these things, right, as he's doing a lot more pass blocking, as he's doing a lot more run blocking, it allows you to call more short dink and dunk, tight end delay plays for him. Maybe even a tight end screen. It allows him to get open a little bit more where he's checking, and then he has a delayed release out into the flats or some drag routes across the middle. We'll get into a few more Kyle Pitts plays right here. Kyle Pitts right over here. Running Kyle Pitts to the opposite side. Now this is a wham play. Don't run Kyle Pitts on a lot of kick out blocks. Kyle Pitts is going to come to this other side, and it's a wham because it's like a trap on this backside defensive end. And a lot of times you have edge players who are fast enough to scrape across the formation and make that tackle. So you just kind of need him to get in the way a little bit. And I do have a few plays that you guys will be impressed by. And let's see what this one right here does. You got Kyle Pitts right here. You see that? Kyle Pitts, they run to his side. He seals off. He's going to seal off on his edge right here. And again, all he has to do is kind of get in the way of the edge rusher, the edge defender. And when you got a running back, look at me. When you got a running back like Bijan Robinson and even Tyler Algier, all you got to do is cause a little bit of a hesitation to be able to spring that for a big play. But he seals out and kicks out on that edge rusher right here and springs it for a nice, what do we want to call that? Look, now, we got another play right here that Kyle Pitts is going to make. He's going to make a nice block on this guy. And right here, kicks out. Bijan's able to cut it right back inside. Now, on that particular play, if Kyle Pitts wasn't actually kicking out on his guy properly on that play, it could have actually made that tackle. And that's not what that's what you want. That's all you want. You just want him to be able to go out and make the proper blocks where he kind of gets in the guy's way a little bit. We'll go into a couple more plays. And I'm not going to do too many more because I don't want to worry about YouTube putting us into any type of restriction on those. But we got us a nice big run right here that I'll show you guys. Now, Kyle Pitts is right here. He's going to get a nice kick out on this guy. If I'm not mistaken, this is a play where they're able to spring him a little bit deep. Look at this point of contact right here. Look at how he's got this edge defender turned a little bit. Look at where Bijan is at. Now, you got guys in here who can make this play a little bit, But Bijan has the type of speed that you can just get around the edge out there. That's all you need. That's all you need. All you need is just a little bit. Doesn't take very much. Doesn't take very much to spring some of those plays. But again, just kind of getting in the way a little bit. And he did more than get in the way. He actually made a pretty good block on that play. Now, I have a couple more plays. I said that Kyle Pitts also can pass block for you as well, too. Now, on this play that I'm going to show you, he doesn't necessarily, you know, they almost sacked Penix here on this play. You got Kyle Pitts right here. But the fact that he can pass block helps him out. Got a guy in motion. That edge defender could have definitely made this play right here. Now, somebody else gets to Penix and makes it hard for him to actually get that ball off. But this edge guy could have, if he had to hold that ball any more further, that could have been an issue for them. But they're able to get a modest gain on that. Again, here's another play. Now, this is a pass play right here, if I'm not mistaken. Right? You got Kyle Pitts right here. Now, Penix doesn't actually see him on this play, but because of what you've already established in the game, and this is why you want to, look at me, plays like what I'm about to show you is the reason that you want to re-sign Kyle Pitts, because he gives you a good red zone target. Him doing all of this together, because you've already had him spread out a little bit further wide on a pass blocking play. So now you've established that he can stay in for pass blocking, and he can also run block for you. Now you got your edge defenders guessing what he's going to do. Now you got your linebackers and your coverage guys guessing what he's going to do on that play. And Penix is not going to hit him, but he would have had him in the end zone on the touchdown. Watch Pitts right here. Boom! Look at all this real estate right here. If Pitts, now he dumps it off to Bijan over here. But if he puts this ball over here on this corner pylon and allows Pitts to be able to run underneath that, that's a touchdown. Now, it's still a positive gain. It's still a positive gain for us. Still a positive gain. But Pitts is able to get downfield in the red zone. And if he throws this ball right, look at this spot right here. If he releases that just a tad bit sooner, Pitts is going to be able to run underneath this ball right here. And it's a touchdown, right? Snap comes out a little bit. I think Penix is, maybe potentially a little bit panicked on that play. I don't want to lie to you guys, and I don't want to speculate as to what he was seeing or what he was thinking on that play specifically. But I do a little bit feel as though, he it's still early in the season on that particular play. But you have Pitts in position to be able to make other plays for you with all the skill sets that he has out there. And I think for that reason alone, that's why you want to go ahead and be able to re-sign Kyle Pitts. Because this offense, with Kyle Pitts on the field, along with Drake London, and maybe you add another speedy receiver, or you add a couple of, number 3 receivers. Maybe your number 2 receiver isn't a guy that could be a number 1 receiver anywhere else. We don't need that. We got Drake London out there. Drake London is, in my humble opinion, one of the best receivers in the league. He's still an elite, top-tier wide receiver out here in the NFL. So you don't necessarily need another wide receiver out there that can that's going to be a number 1. You need a guy that, in case Drake London is, if he's injured, he could kind of step in and kind of carry things for you a little bit and kind of hold it down for a little bit. But if you have Kyle Pitts out there, he could still be your number 2 receiver or your number 2 option in this offense on a lot of your passing plays. And if you still got Bijan out there, sometimes he's going to be your number 2 or number 3 option. And maybe even sometimes your number 1 option, because again, you got Drake London and even Kyle Pitts on certain plays that they could be decoys and open up things for Bijan Robinson and open up a lot of checkdowns, whether he's in the backfield or whether you have him out there in the slot. I think that if you have Kyle Pitts, it offers a lot more versatility in your offense and some of the things that you guys can do. Now, I want you guys in the comments to let me know what you think about some of this breakdown. And again, let me know if you want to get, you want me to give you a link to that tape. Now, hopefully YouTube doesn't hit me with a copyright infringement on that, but if they do, oh well. On this video right here, trying to do a little bit of film breakdown for you guys. But all in all, I think signing Kyle Pitts is going to be the move that we need to go with. Because again, if we can, sign maybe 2 or 3 receivers, or maybe we could make a trade for somebody like a Jordan Addison, or maybe we sign a receiver in the offseason at a more of a bargain price. And again, I talked a little bit about Christian Kirk as a guy that I'd be interested in going with as well. He's a guy that's 29 years old that if we bring him back, if he does have a good season, we sign him again for another year or two, we won't have to pay him that much. And it kind of gives us a year or two where we can kind of figure some things out. And then again, like I said, draft a guy maybe in the 3rd or 4th round that can really turn into something. Somebody inside of our division, like Chris Godwin, is a guy who, he was drafted in the 3rd round. And I think about his 2nd or 3rd year, he became one of the premier slot guys in possession receivers that you could kind of move around on a lot of dink and dunk stuff, on a lot of short area stuff. And I think that if we can get Michael Penix, a guy who is a good route runner and can just get open whenever you need to play, aside from Drake London, that's just going to work wonders for him. You guys let me know in the comments who you'd like to see us move with moving forward, or any additional guys that you'd like to see us sign. But I think if we do that, and again, I'm more of a fan of maybe signing somebody this year, but if we can get a trade like that, I think that'd be good. That's our time for today. Stay tuned. I'll keep hitting you guys with more updates. Simo to C. Mitchell, checking out for Falcons, no longer Falcons Bird Bath, but Bird Bath ATL on Point Game Official. Peace.